80% of Americans said that they were disgusted with this election. And
bullshit. No, they didn't.
It may have been the choice they had. I don't think it was the system or the
You see this shit right here? Until Donald Trump actually puts his hand on that Bible and is swearing in, you got this loser right here who's gonna keep on with her nonsense about... and here's the thing. She's filling anybody who's stupid enough to send money to her, which is strange considering she couldn't even raise any money in her own campaign. But she's sending anybody who's stupid enough to raise money by sending her money. She's dumb. She's got it so that people actually are filled with a false hope that she's somehow going to be able to overturn the election. Are people really that stupid to actually believe that this moron can overturn the election? The election is final. He got an electoral landslide, 300 and something to Hillary's 220 whatever. I don't even need to know the numbers anymore because it doesn't matter. But here she is. She couldn't even raise $10 million for her own campaign because most of the people who were voting third party picked Gary Johnson over her. Not that it really mattered. So now she wants to be a spoiler and try to convince these morons to send her more and more and more cash for an outcome that's already inevitable and already basically set in stone. I've heard her talk, and she's basically said, oh yeah, well, the reason why we're raising money is to open up investigations as to whether or not there was Russian hacking. First of all, that's bullshit, and the problem is the left, including Bill Maher and all these goddamn comedians who are masquerading as journalists, which they're not. And then you've got all these journalists who are too young and pretty and stupid who don't really know history and don't know enough about history to be journalists. These people, yeah, see, they're busy arguing. But anyway, you got all of these people who don't seem to understand. The Russians didn't hack the election. The Russians didn't hack me when I went down and signed a paper ballot in order to nominate or elect Donald Trump. They didn't hack that. There's a paper ballot behind it. I remember when I was at the election booth, I filled out a paper ballot, I ran it through a computer. The only hacking that I saw was in machines that were changing votes that were for Trump back to Hillary. And from what I've seen, some of these recounts that they're doing in Wisconsin is just giving Trump the same victory he already got. So what's the point of this? Is the point of this that the left has become so ridiculous and so radical at this point that they won't even accept the election results, despite the fact that we know that these election results are legitimate? And you got Obama on television. He's like, oh yeah, well, because of Fox News, we weren't able to properly reach the American people. No. Because of your failed candidate who appeared to be a criminal, you weren't able to properly reach the American people. And then you got this loser right here who can't even get $10 million for her own campaign, trying to spoil a democratic election. Do you really think that I would let you, who is a nobody, I don't give a shit what kind of degree you got, you're a nobody, you think I'm going to let you spoil my democracy when I went and voted for this person and they won? If Trump had not gotten as many states as he had gotten, then maybe I would say, oh, okay, it was a razor-thin victory and she did get the popular vote. But that's not what happened. Every single state that wasn't filled with liberals who are on welfare checks voted against her. California, New York, Florida, and Texas. If you get those 4 states, you basically already won the election. Thing about it is that drowns out all the voices of all of those other states, and that makes it so that they have almost no say. Basically, the Electoral College is absolutely necessary, and they're just angry that it worked against them this time. And Hillary's a spoiler, Jill Stein's a spoiler, Bernie Sanders is a communist loser. And the simple fact of the matter is, we need an electoral college, because not having an electoral college would be like if you have 2 wolves and 1 sheep voting on what's for dinner. Their vote outnumbers you simply because there's 2 of them and there's 1 of you. So do I accept a spoiler who's trying to overturn an election to give a bunch of welfare voters who want nothing more than to vote for taking more money out of my pocket? Do I think that I would accept that ever? No, I wouldn't. Jill Stein is a spoiler. And she might as well be over there in Standing Rock getting sprayed with taser hoses instead of being here trying to ruin a democratic election. Donald Trump beat Hillary fair and square. I don't care how many more people voted for Hillary. You know why? Because California and New York have so many people living in them that their electoral votes is California 55, New York I think has either 28 or 29. Off the top of my head, I can't remember. Donald Trump flipped Florida, and when he flipped Florida, it was all over for Hillary. At that point, if you remember the video I made, I went to sleep when I saw him flip Florida because there was no point watching anymore. I already knew he won. Just like I told you he was going to win a whole year and a half ago. I told you he was going to win. You know why? Because I knew Hillary was a flawed candidate, high negatives. She's been in government all this time. She's had everything given to her. First of all, well, let's think. She only got to be Secretary of State because Obama beat her ass. Obama came out of nowhere and beat her and then handed her Secretary of State. And how did she get to be Senator of New York? Oh, she came all the way from Arkansas, the wife of Bill Clinton, and gets to be Senator of New York simply because we voted for her husband, not even for her. We didn't like her. We wanted her husband. You know what? They had a term for that. And because I paid attention in history class, they had a term for that. It was called a carpetbagger. It was white people with carpet bags who'd go down south and run for offices in these places. There's more terms to it, but I'm not even going to bother with that. I paid attention in history class. Yeah, guess what? This guy right here won. And all you stupid liberals who want to send all your money to Jill Stein, what you should do is you should send any money that you've actually earned, which is basically nothing. Or you should, because I don't even think it's right if you're going to cut a piece of your welfare check to send to her. But guess what? You just witnessed a Democratic election work against you. They're saying, oh, yeah, because she was out of touch with the American people. Well, you could make that argument. But yeah, out of touch with the American people, she got her ass kicked. And he got over 300 electoral votes. And even if this spoiler was able to overturn, like Wisconsin, you're not overturning Pennsylvania, because all those Pennsylvania gun owners that I see when I go down there to shoot guns over at the range, when I go down there to shoot rifles and stuff, all of those people voted against Hillary Clinton. And that's how she lost Pennsylvania. And the thing about it is they want to paint all these white people as racist rednecks. I never bought into that. And I'm a black person who knows the truth because I've been watching this for the last 30 years. These white people weren't just rednecks and racists and Bible-holding, gun-grabbing people. That's bullshit. And that's a narrative that's been repeated by white liberals on The View, Bill Maher, and all of these shitty comedians who are nothing more than masquerading as journalists because they're not. The reality of the situation is she got beat because they didn't like her, and they didn't like her since the 90s. And I've already said my piece on this, but the thing about it is when Trump is swearing in, it's all over. And Jill Stein, my question to all you morons who are stupid enough to send her money, my question is, how much of a refund are you going to get back? And I'm also disappointed about Nancy Pelosi. I'm really disappointed that the guy who challenged her didn't beat her, because between Pelosi, Yellen, Merkel, and Hillary, it's almost like you got the sisters of fate right there. You got like 3 of them trying to control your fate. These globalists will be defeated one way or another, whether it's Brexit, whether it's America voting for Trump. I hear Italy is about ready to start their nationalism again, after Mussolini. But anyway, these people are going to be defeated one way or another. They are not going to steal democracy. I voted, my guy won. They are not going to steal democracy. And it's going to be, once Trump swears in, this whole thing ends.